Dear learner, I welcome you on behalf of School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University, New Delhi. Dear learner, on previous lecture we have discussed about type of DC generator. Under that particular topic we have discussed what are the different type of generator, that is separately excited generator or self-excited generator. Under self-excited generator we have discussed series generator, shunt generator and compound generator. So today we are going to discuss new topic that is called DC motor. So as name is indicating, motor. So what is a basically motor? Motor is nothing but in which you give some electrical energy and that electrical energy is converted into mechanical energy, that is called DC motor, right? So in this particular session we will discuss construction and working principle of DC motor, then we will discuss what is the importance of the back EMF, and then we will discuss torque equation of the DC motor and how the speed of DC motor can be controlled. It will be discussed in this particular session. So first we are starting by the construction of the DC motor. So as you can see here, this is the outer part is basically called magnetic frame or yoke. So this magnetic frame or yoke supports this pole and pole shoes, and this also provides the magnetic path to flow from north pole to south pole. So here you can see there are 4 poles. Here you can see this one is north pole, south pole, north pole, south pole. So this is a alternating, and again here you can see that this one is a pole shoe and this is a pole. So the function of pole is what? The field binding is placed on this pole, and this pole shoe provides the maximum path to provide the maximum flux which will be passed through the rotor, because for getting the rotation of the DC motor you need first important thing is that is a magnetic flux. So this magnetic flux will be generated by this field binding, and this field binding is placed on this pole. And here you can see this one is basically a armature. So the function of armature is what? In the armature conductor are placed, because whenever the current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it will experience some force, right? Then you can see this one is a commutator. Function of commutator is what? It converts DC to AC or AC to DC. Again here you can see the construction of the DC motor. Here you can see this is a only 2 pole DC motor. This one is, suppose you can say this is north pole, this one is a south pole, and this one is a armature. So this armature will move in this magnetic field. So as this conductor, current carrying conductor is placed in a magnetic field, it will start to move as per the Lorentz law. So now we are going to discuss the working principle of DC motor. So before the starting of the working principle of DC motor, you must know the Fleming left hand rule. So if the thumb, here you can see this figure, if the thumb, middle finger and the index finger of the left hand are displaced from each other by an angle 90 degree like this. This one is a thumb, this one is a middle finger, and this one is an index finger. The middle finger represents the direction of the magnetic field, and this index finger represents the direction of the current. Then this thumb will show the direction of the force acting on the conductor. Like you can assume that this is a north pole and this one is a south pole. So the field, direction of the field from north pole to south pole, so this finger is showing basically the direction of the field, and this finger, index finger, is the direction of the current, because you have to put the current carrying conductor in the magnetic field. So this thumb will show the direction of the motion of the conductor. So this is basically a Fleming left hand rule. Now we have to understand working principle of DC motor. DC motor work on the principle of the Lorentz law, which states that current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field experience a force, and this experience force is basically called Lorentz law. So here you can see this one is a, you can say this is maybe the permanent magnet or this may be the electromagnet. So just we are assuming this is a electromagnet. So this is a two pole, you can say DC motor. This is north pole, this is a south pole. Here you can see the direction of the magnetic flux B, and the direction of the current is in this way, from this to this direction. So now you have to find out what will be the direction of the force in this current carrying conductor. So here you can see, just you apply Fleming left hand rule. So here this finger is showing the direction of the magnetic field, which is shown by this B, this black arrow. This current carrying conductor, here in this conductor, this is one conductor, this is another conductor. So here you can see the direction of the current in this wire is from this to this. So this is the direction of the magnetic field, this is the direction of the magnetic field, this is the direction of the current. So this thumb will show the direction of the force, or in which direction this current will move. It can be found out by the Fleming left hand rule. Similarly, if you want to find out the direction of the force in this particular conductor, so again here you can, because direction of the magnetic field is the same. Now here you can observe the direction of the current in conductor is changed. So here you can see, now just you have to apply like this. This is a direction of the magnetic field, this is a direction of the current flowing in the conductor, then this thumb will show the direction of the force in this current carrying conductor. Now the direction of this force is determined by the Fleming left hand rule, as I already told you, and its magnitude is given by this formula, F is equal to BIL. So where, what is a B? B is nothing but, B is a magnetic field strength, which is generally measured in the Tesla, or you can say Weber per meter square. This I is the current flowing through conductor in ampere, how much current is flowing in this conductor, or you can say in this conductor, and this L is the length of the conductor. So there is a 3 parameter on which the magnitude of the force will depend on this conductor. First one is what? Magnetic field, that is B. Second, magnitude of the current flowing in the conductor, and third, length of the conductor. Now we have to understand the working principle of DC motor. So just for the simplicity, consider only one coil of the armature placed in the magnetic field produced by two pole machine. So here you can see this is a one pole, north pole, this is a south pole, right? And just for making you understand how this conductor will start to move, just we are assuming that there is only one conductor in this DC motor. So here you can see this is a one conductor, because this is north pole, this is south pole. So direction of the magnetic field in this way, here you can see it has been shown by this black arrow, and this is a conductor. So because there is no current flowing in this conductor, so there is no direction of the current here you can see. Now in the second figure, when DC supply is connected to the coil, here you can see this is a one coil. Now DC supply is connected to the coil, current flows through it, set up its own field. So here you can see, because this dot is showing that the current is coming upward. So if you want to check the direction of the magnetic field through this conductor, just you can apply the screw rule, because this current is flowing outwards. So that means just you use the screw like this, screwdriver. So because it is coming upward, that means you are opening this screw. So you will move in this way, anti-clockwise direction. So this direction of the screwdriver will show the direction of the magnetic field. So here you can see, because you are moving like this. Okay. So this one is a direction of the magnetic field, but because this is a one coil, that means coil will be in this way, current will go in this way and then will flow in this way. So this is a one coil, or you can say this is one conductor. In this conductor, current is flowing downwards. So that means just you screw, as you tight the screw, so as you are moving in this way, so direction is what? Direction is a clockwise. So this is showing the direction of the magnetic field due to the current flowing in this conductor, and this magnetic field, direction of the magnetic field when current is flowing in conductor due to this particular conductor. Now, because now there is a two field, one is due to the pole and another field is due to the armature conductor. So by the interaction of the two field, one field is produced by the main poles and second field is produced by the coil. So here you can see this direction field is produced by this conductor and another field is produced by this north pole and south pole. So the tendency of this is to come its original position, that is in straight line, due to which force is exerted on the two coil sides and torque is produced, and this torque is responsible to rotate the coil. So again here you can see the field produced due to this magnetic field, which is denoted by this Fm, or you can say this is a main field, that's why it is denoted as F suffix m. And another field is due to the current flowing in the armature conductor, and this is a Fr, because this is produced by the armature conductor. So now here there is a two field. Here you can notice one is a main field and another is another field is produced by the armature conductor. So when current is supplied to the coil, it produces its own field, which is denoted as F suffix R. This field tries to come in the line with the main field, and an electromagnetic torque is developed in the clockwise direction. How this torque will be produced, we will discuss in the next slide. Now, because whatever we have discussed till now, just we are assuming that there is only one coil in the main field flux, because you are using the motor, so there will be numbers of the conductor will be there. So in actual machine, large number of conductor are placed on the armature. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. All the conductor placed under the influence of one pole, that is north pole, carry the current in one direction, or you can say outward, while the other conductor placed under the influence of the other pole, that is south pole, carry the current in opposite direction. So here you can see whole conductor is divided into two equal parts, or you can say, that means suppose I am saying that 10 coils are used. So 10 coils means what? It will have 20 conductor, right? So this 10 conductor is under the influence of the north pole and 10 conductor are under the influence of the south pole. And here you can see this plus and this dot is showing basically this is the direction of the magnetic flux due to the field binding, and this armature, this conductor is due to the armature only. So two type of flux is being produced. One is called main flux, another is due to this is a armature flux. Now tendency is what? Both flux will come in the original position. Now as a resultant, rotor field is produced. Its direction is marked by the arrowhead, that is Fr. This rotor field Fr tries to come in line with the main field Fm, and this torque T is developed. So here you can, if you want to find out what is the direction of the rotor, so here you can see, because this is a direction of the current is outwards, so and the direction of the magnetic field is from left to right. So this finger is showing the direction of the magnetic field, and here this index finger is showing the direction of the current flowing in the conductor. So this thumb will show the direction of the rotor. And just opposite of that, here you can see the direction of the current flowing in the armature is downwards. So just you apply like this. This is a main field flux. This is a direction of the current. So this thumb will show the direction of the rotor. So it can be seen that to obtain continuous torque, the direction of flow of current in each conductor or coil side must be reversed when it passes through the magnetic neutral axis, that is called MNA. So this is called basically MNA. This is achieved with the help of the commutator. Under such type of DC machine, because there is a two flux are being produced, one is called basically main field and another field is produced by the armature conductor. So what happens basically? The armature flux oppose the main flux, that is called the armature reaction. So armature reaction is what? Armature reaction is the reaction in which flux produced by the armature conductor which oppose the main flux. Because total flux is reducing, that means the strength of the, or you can say the torque will also be reduced. So to compensate the armature reaction, there are different techniques are used, like we are used the compensating winding, we use the interpoles and are being used. Now another term that we are going to discuss, that is called back EMF. As name is indicating back, that means some EMF which oppose something, that's why it is called back EMF. So when armature of DC motor rotates, an EMF is produced in armature conductor which is known as back EMF, which oppose the applied voltage. So here you can see in the diagram, this is basically a DC motor and you are applying the some voltage, DC voltage, you can say V, and this current carrying conductor is placed in the magnetic field, so it will start to move. Now what will happen? Because the armature conductor is rotating in the magnetic field. So what Faraday law says, whenever conductor is placed in the rotating magnetic field, it will induce some EMF. So this armature will also induce some EMF, and this EMF will be called as back EMF, which is denoted as E suffix B. And this magnitude of back EMF will depend upon the flux, what is the value of this flux per pole, what is the number of armature conductor, that is Z, and what is the speed of this armature, and number of poles and number of parallel path. And this number of parallel path depends on the type of the winding, whether you are using lap binding or you are using the wave binding. So now back EMF is being produced by this DC motor. Now here you can see, just you apply the KVL. So here you can write the one equation, that is V. V is equal to what? V equal to EB plus IA RA, where V is the applied voltage, that means DC voltage, and this EB is the back EMF, and IA is what? IA is the armature current and RA is armature resistance. So by this equation you can also write equation for IA. IA is equal to what? V minus EB upon RA, where V is a applied voltage, EB is a back EMF, and RA is a armature resistance. So here you can notice that this back EMF always oppose the applied voltage, and this phenomena is very useful. We will understand this also. So suppose just you assume when motor is not running, or you can say just it about to start, or you can say the speed is equal to 0, that means n is equal to 0. If n is equal to 0, because n is equal to 0, so what is the value of EB? That means EB is 0. So I is equal to what? B minus EB upon RA, and this EB is 0, that means this numerator value is very high. Suppose you are applying, you can assume you are applying 230 voltage, and this armature resistance is very low, it can be the 0.05 ohm. So this value of armature current will be very high when you start the DC motor. So to overcome this phenomena, what we use? We use the DC starter. So For the starter, what starter does? Starter is nothing but it is a external resistance inserted in series with the armature of the DC motor. So as the motor will start, that means the speed will be increasing. So as speed will be increasing, that means the value of the back EMF will be increasing. As value of the back EMF will be increasing, that means this B minus EB will be reduced. So B minus EB is reduced, that means value of the armature can be reduced. How this DC starter work, it will be discussed in the next lecture. So again here you can see, so I is equal to what? I is equal to B minus EB upon RA, and EB is equal to what? Phi Z NP upon 60A. So when mechanical load, now we have to understand how this back EMF is basically work as a governor. So because now suppose DC motor is started. So DC motor is started, that means this motor is moving at some RPM. Maybe you can say it is moving at 1000 RPM. So if it is moving at 1000 RPM, so it will generate some back EMF EB. So at that moment current is what? I is equal to B minus EB upon RA. So when mechanical load applied on the motor increases, so its speed will decrease because you are putting some external load. External load means like you can understand, suppose you can take example of the train in the traction system. So number of passengers are there, that means it will experience some load. So it will experience some load, that means speed of that particular motor will decrease. So speed of that motor will decrease, so that means value of the back EMF will decrease. If value of back EMF will be decreased, that means this B minus EB will be increased. If B minus EB will be increased, that means armature current will be increased. If this armature current is increased, that means torque will increase. That means what will do? This torque will try to increase the speed of DC motor, and that is what we require. So what you have understood? As load will increase, so load will increase, that means speed will decrease. If speed will decrease, that means back EMF will decrease. If back EMF will decrease, that means B minus EB will be decreased. B minus EB will be increased. If B minus EB will increase, that means armature current will increase. If armature current will be increased, that means torque will increase. Now let us understand how the back EMF make motor self-regulating. So consider the motor is running at no load. Running at no load means what? Means motor is moving, but you are not putting any load on the DC motor, or you can say motor is running at no load. Right? So at no load, the DC motor requires a small torque for controlling the frictional and windage losses. The motor withdraws less current at this condition when there is a no load. As the back EMF depends on the current, their value also decreases. So the magnitude of the back EMF is nearly equal to the supply voltage. So that means the value of that applied voltage V and value of back EMF is approximately equals. Like suppose you are applying 230 voltage DC voltage. So at no load, this back EMF is nearly equal to, you can say, 220 volt or 210 volt. So this whatever the current is flowing at no load, this no load current will produce some small torque which will be used to control the frictional and windage losses. Now this is one condition. Second condition we are going to discuss that when you are applying some load, like you are applying some load on the DC motor. So if the sudden load is applied to the motor becomes slow because you are putting some external load, like this is a shaft of the motor and you are putting some load. So what will happen? The speed of this shaft will be decreased. So as speed of motor decreases, magnitude of their back EMF also decrease, because back EMF is directly proportional to the speed of the motor. So the small back EMF withdraw heavy current from the supply. How? Because I is equal to what? I equal to V minus EB upon RA. So this speed is decreasing, that means value of back EMF is decreasing. If value of back EMF is decreasing, so this B minus EV is increasing. If B minus EV is increasing, that means armature current is increasing. So the small back EMF withdraw heavy current from the supply. The large armature current induce the large torque in the armature, which is the need of the motor. So the motor moves continuously at new speed. The third condition is what? When the load is suddenly reduced. So if the load on the rotor or you can say motor is suddenly reduced, the driving torque on the motor is more than the load torque. Then what will happen? The driving torque increases the speed of the motor, which is also increases their back EMF, and the high value of the back EMF decreases the armature current. Because the armature current is reduced, then what will happen? That means the value of the torque will also reduce. So the small magnitude of armature current develops less driving torque, which is equal to the load torque, and the motor will rotate uniformly at new speed. So this is the importance of the back EMF in case of the DC motor. Now we are going to discuss the torque equation of the DC motor. So just you assume this T is the electromagnetic torque developed, which is measured in Newton meter. N is the motor speed, which is the RPS, around revolution per second. So power developed by motor can be written as work done per second, which can be written as TE into omega, where T is what? T is electromagnetic torque, and omega is what? Omega is angular speed, which can be written as 2 pi n. So electrical equivalent of mechanical power developed by armature can be written as EB into IA, where EB is what? EB is a back EMF and IA is armature current. Now again you can write this TE into 2 pi n, because these two terms are the equal. So you can write TE into 2 pi n is equal to EB into IA. So you can write T is equal to what? EB into IA upon 2 pi n. This n is what? This n is the speed of armature, and it is measured in RPS, revolution per second. So it can be written as RPM also. So what we will do? Just divide by 60. So it can be written as EBIA upon 2 pi n upon 60. So this T is equal to what? TE is equal to EB into IA upon 2 pi n upon 60. And what is the value of this back EMF EB? EB is nothing but it is a P phi n 60 Z upon A. This is the equation of the EMF, or because we are talking about the back EMF, so again it will be the value of this back EMF is equal to what? P phi n Z upon 60A, and this is IA 2 pi n upon 60. So this n will be cancelled out, this 60 will be cancelled out, so this term will be equal to P phi Z IA upon 2 pi A. So final equation of the torque is equal to what? TE equal to P phi Z IA upon 2 pi A, where P is the number of pole of the DC motor. That means a 4-pole DC motor you are using, that means torque will be more. Then it will depends on the flux per pole. It will depends on the armature conductor. It depends on the armature current. It depends on the type of the wave binding, whether you are using lap binding or wave binding. So in conclusion, we can say that this torque is directly proportional to the armature current. So you can say T is equal to K phi A, where K is equal to what? PZ upon 2 pi A. So T is directly proportional to flux per pole and armature current. So torque produced in the armature is directly proportional to the flux per pole and armature current. The direction of the electromagnetic torque developed in the armature depends upon the direction of the flux or magnetic field and the direction of the flow of current in armature current. If either of the two is reversed, the direction of the torque produced is reversed, and hence the direction of the rotation. However, when both are reversed, the direction of the torque does not change. Now we will understand how you can control the speed of the DC motor also. So basically there is a two main component on which the torque of the DC motor depends. First one is flux per pole and armature current. Now as you know, the equation of back EMF is equal to what? P phi Zn upon 60A. So by this formula you can write N is equal to what? EB into 60A upon P phi Z, where P, Z and A are a constant. So N is equal to what? N is directly proportional to the back EMF and phi. And this EB can be written as B minus IARA upon phi. So speed of DC motor depends on, basically you can say, three component. One is applied voltage, second is armature resistance, third is flux. So out of these three, if you are able to control any three, then you can control the speed of the DC motor. If you are increasing the applied voltage, that means speed of the DC motor will increase. If you are increasing the armature current, then what will happen? That means this B minus IARA will decrease. That means speed can be decreased. If you are able to control the flux, that means if flux is more, that means speed is less. If flux is less, that means speed is more. Now another term that is called percentage speed regulation. So speed regulation is what? Change in speed from no load to full load is called speed regulation. Now in very short we are going to discuss power equation and torque. So you can write the equation V equal to what? EB plus IARA. Just you multiply it by the armature current both the sides. So you can write V into IA is equal to EB into IA plus IA square into RA. So here you can notice this EB into IA is equal to what? B IA minus IA square RA. And this EB into IA is nothing but it is a mechanical power developed in the DC motor. So it can be written as PM is equal to VIA minus IA square into RA. Now we want to calculate what is the condition for to get the maximum power. So to get the maximum power, what is the variable quantity? That is armature current. Just you differentiate this equation with respect to the armature current. So you can write dPm upon di is equal to what? V minus 2IA RA. So to get the maximum power, just you put dPim di is equal to 0. So what you can write? This equal to 0, B minus 2IA RA is equal to 0. That means V is equal to what? 2 into IA into RA. So just put IA RA is equal to V minus EB. So that means V is equal to what? 2 into V minus EB. So EB is equal to what? V by 2. So in any motor, mechanical power developed in armature will be maximum when this back EMF is equal to the half of the applied voltage. Now just we are going to discuss one example. A 4-pole DC motor has wave-bound armature with 594 conductor. The armature current is 40 ampere and flux per pole is 7.5 milliweber. You have to calculate the horsepower of the motor when running at 1440 RPM. So just you extract what are the parameter are given. So number of poles are given, P equal to 4, armature conductor are 594, armature current is 40 ampere, flux is 7.5 milliweber and N is 1440 RPM. So torque is equal to what? Torque is equal to P phi ZI upon 2 pi A. Just put the different parameter here, then you can easily calculate the torque. It comes T is equal to 56.72 Newton per meter, because you have to calculate the horsepower of the motor. So power developed is equal to what? Torque multiplied by the angular speed, and angular speed can be written as 2 pi N upon 60. So HP of the motor is equal to what? This power developed divided by 735.5. So just put all the value. So after the solving, you are able to calculate horsepower of the motor is what? 11.63 watt, 11.63 HP. So dear learner, in this particular session we have discussed about the DC motor. So first we have discussed construction of the DC motor, then we discussed working principle of the DC motor, and after that we have discussed what is the importance of the back EMF and what are the different way by which you can control the speed of the DC motor. Thank you very much.